At the Pendle witch trials, the witches were accused of making small figures in the likeness. That was always the thing, they'd always say, the likeness of such and such a person. From there, it never looked good for these women and some men. The Pendle witch trials birthed the burning times. Hundreds of thousands would be burned at the stake, all under the name of Christianity, accusing people of being Satanists and cavorting with the devil. To be called a witch was a death sentence, and all you had to do to be accused of being a witch was for simply being different. A lot of them old, widowed, men in power who wanted property taken from anybody who they disliked. And in their particular accusations towards them, a lot of them would say that they would make small clay figures in order to hurt someone.
In early modern Europe, witches were believed to use small figures, called puppets or images, to harm others through sympathetic magic. As Reginald Scott described in 1584, witches would make an image of wax, baptize it in the name of the party they wish to hurt, and so burn or melt it, whereby the person shall perish. This practice was rooted in the idea that harming the figure would harm the person it represented. In the 1591 North Berwick trials, Agnes Sampson confessed to melting a wax image to waste the body of her victim, supposedly even aiming to kill King James VI. As the image did waste, so should the person waste. Even King James believed it. In demonology, he warned, they take images made of wax or clay, and burn them, by which the person is consumed. These beliefs reached colonial America too. During the Salem witch trials, a doll with pins in its head and heart was found in Bridget Bishop's home, used as proof she bewitched children. A puppet with pins stuck through the head and heart. Behind these fears was a simple but powerful idea, that a crude, handmade figure could become a weapon. Whether real or imagined, these puppets helped turn suspicion into evidence, and superstition into tragedy.
I thought this was a really important aspect of the conversation to bring up. Some of these idols, or, the extension from the paranoia coming from that Christian ideology, then being interpreted in witchcraft or accusing people of witchcraft, and how that led to real consequences. But that leads me into my next segment, which is going to be a little bit of fun on some modern satanic panic idols.
Blasphemous Ninja Turtles meditation. The ninja uses meditation to obtain physical power and inner strength. Meditation is a religion that does not accept Jesus Christ, the Messiah, as the one true God. Eastern religions, Hrang is the spiritual leader to Shredder. Hrang speaks from his middle stomach, where a demonic-like figure is visible.
LABUBU. Oh, which one did I get? Which one did I get? It's cost me a tenner, by the way. A tenner. Oh, I think. Nice looking at it. Oh, he's quite cute actually. And he feels all drobbity. Banter Satan. Switch around a few letters. And that's what you get. Banter Satan. Oh, they really are demonic.
Ανάγκη. Αλλά προσέξτε, μην πάτε και το αγοράσετε. Στα παιδιά σας θα δαιμονιστούν αμέσως. Έχει ολόκληρο διάβολο μέσα εδώ. Εδώ μέσα έχει ολόκληρο διάβολο. Προσέξτε το, θα το βάλουν στην τηλεόραση.
Gave it back to her boyfriend. Took it upstairs and it ended up on my wife's desk. And she told me what happened. The Furby was sitting on her desk, and she took the batteries out of this Furby because the Furby started talking. She didn't like what it said. Said, "Me no like you." And she said, "Well, I don't like you either," and started to take the batteries out of it. So she took the batteries out of it, and it growled at her. And she said, "It growled." And I said, "You mean it just made a growling noise?" She said, "No, it growled." I said, "Let me see that thing." And I picked that Furby up, and I sat down in a chair. And I sat there and I said, "In the name of Jesus of Nazareth," I said, "I know who you are. I know what you are." I said, "Reveal yourself now."
It's become popular with children anywhere from grammar school on up. Not so with a lot of adults who think it's been connected to a number of suicides and murders. The idea of the game, which is played by highly imaginative and intelligent kids, is to assume the role of one of the characters. One game can go on for weeks or even months. The problem seems to be that some kids take it more seriously than others, take it a step further, playing a character who brings them the power in a game they couldn't possibly get in real life.
About 2 months ago, a green eyeball was seen up in the sky. This eyeball was so big it blotted out the sun, okay?
These young people are playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's an enormously complicated game in which each player chooses an imaginary character he'll assume. There are dwarfs, knights, and thieves, gods, and devils.
The Baphomet on your altar, to your demonic Furby. Looking back at history, it's safe to say that we haven't evolved as much as what we think we have, but with satanic acts, we can free ourselves from the insanity of Abrahamic religious ideology. Happy Unveiling Day, happy second year of infernal reign, British Associated Fellowship of Satan, and hail Satan.